Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video we're going to be giving you guys an update on the upcoming severe weather, and I think there's a few outbreaks coming up, and there will be towards the later half of May. Now before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now for today's comment of the day, I want to know, what is your favorite year of your life that you can remember, and give me a reason why, just like in general what comes to mind. For me it's 2010 and 2016. It's hard for me to pick between those, but I feel like I had a lot of personal growth during my childhood and teenage years during those 2 years. Now let's get right into this video, and we're going to be taking a look at our upcoming severe weather chances, and I think there's going to be multiple outbreaks that are possible during this time period. Let's take a look at today's temperature anomalies, and this is why we haven't had a lot of severe weather lately, and it's because it's been cold from north to south, all the way from the Midwest and the Northeast states all the way down to the Gulf states. This creates a very flat line pattern that does not support a lot of chances for severe weather. Let's take a look at what the forecast is for the 14th though, and we see a much more enhanced chance just based off of the surface temperatures. We can see that there's above average temperatures there in western Oklahoma and western Texas, and below average temperatures there for eastern Oklahoma and eastern Texas. That separation and segregation of the two different types of temperatures is really going to create a bit of instability and chance for severe weather, especially there in Kansas as well, where there's colder temperatures to the north, warmer than normal temperatures to the south. That just creates more instability than what we're typically seeing. And really, we're going to take a look in just a second at what this is going to cause as far as instability and then the precipitation. The 14th is actually my first date that I have stamped down for the potential for severe weather. Alright, and here we are, and you can see this is our CAPE, and we have very, very high CAPE as we're heading towards 8 p.m. on the 13th. Heading into the 14th, I think that most of the severe weather is going to be around 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. if I had to guess at this point. But we can see that our CAPE is well above the 2,000 amounts, because in our pinkish orangish shades, it's really hard to differentiate there. That's where we're at 2,000 to 4,000 CAPE, and that's very, very sufficient for severe weather activity across Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Let's take a look at that simulated radar, and you can see this is actually by 2 a.m. You can see areas near Oklahoma City there in central Oklahoma are dealing with those very, very high areas of precipitation according to this model, and that's probably going to be in the form of supercells actually. Let's take a look at that storm relative velocity, and all you need to know is basically just this is cyclonic rotation really, and it's going to create the more enhanced chance for tornadic type supercells. And I think that this being coupled with the very high instability coupled with a very potent storm over this area at this same hour is really going to create the chance for some pretty good chance for some tornadoes, I think, on this date here for the 13th into the 14th there, especially for Oklahoma. Now, very quickly, the Storm Prediction Center also has a day 4 probability risk of 15% there for central Oklahoma and also central Kansas, as you can see there. So the National Weather Service has had their eyes on this outbreak or potential severe weather event at least as well. Now, we're about to move on, and we're going to take a look at our next date, which is actually the 15th. So we'll take a look at that in just a minute. Alright, and here it is. Here's our CAPE for this date, and you can see that we're actually using a different website now. The oranges is 2,000 on this one, the reds are 3,000 to 4,000 CAPE, and those purple colors is where we're at 4,000 to 5,000 CAPE. Very, very high CAPE here by about 2 p.m. on May 15th. That's going to be a Friday. Let's take a look at what that simulated radar looks like at this point. And as you can see, as we head into the evening, we're going to have a line of storms that comes through potentially. And already, so for the 15th, we would be looking at back-to-back days with the potential for severe weather. So this is going to be just our next event. And then here's the CAPE by time. We're looking at about 8 p.m. on the 16th of May, so the next day after that. And you can see again we have those purple showing up for Texas and Oklahoma, 4,000 to 5,000. But here's the simulated radar by this point, and we're not seeing it come together as good on this date, but it's so far out that I could see this changing from obviously this point that we're talking about it to the point where it's happening. So I think that it is potential that it lines up a little bit better. Nevertheless, that's 3 days in a row where I think there is potential for severe weather, potentially even a severe weather outbreak, and there is some potential for tornadoes as well. So the 14th, 15th, and 16th now we are seeing the chance for severe weather. And earlier on in May, I was saying I think around the 15th is when we could see a shift in the pattern towards warmer than normal conditions, which would support more severe weather as well. And that's sure enough what looks like is going to happen here. We're about to move on towards actually the 17th afternoon and talk about some potential chance for some severe weather on that date as well. Alright, and here we are. You can see we do have those reds and purples. The reds, again, indicating the 3,000 to 4,000 amounts, and then those little bits of purples is where we have 4,000 to 5,000. Let's take a look at that simulated radar, and for sure here we have some thunderstorms across Texas, even on that Texas-Oklahoma border. That could be in the form of supercells there by the evening on the 17th, heading into the 18th. We're going to need to keep a close eye onto that. So basically from the 14th onward, we're taking a look at multiple chances for severe weather and actually some pretty long-lived chances, multiple day events here. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the 22nd into the 23rd, sorry. And here's our Cape. We have 2,000 to 3,000 amounts all across these yellows and oranges. This is getting kind of into the extended range, so take this one with a grain of salt, because this is probably going to change at least a little bit, but I'm just trying to show you guys that there's multiple chances for some pretty big severe weather events from the 14th onward towards the end of May. So I think the later half of May is going to be very active, especially in what we call our classic tornado alley here: Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa, Arkansas. All of these areas I think are going to begin to get very, very active, and they weren't really seeing a lot of action during the month of April, but it looks like May is going to be a different story. Here's the radar on the same frame, and you can see we do have thunderstorms throughout, again, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri there in our classic tornado alley with that high amounts of Cape. We're really just going to need to see what the upper level winds look like, but this could be another day where we have big chances at tornadoes. I think basically what I'm trying to sum up is that with this many severe weather events coming up for the later half of May, I think we will at least have a couple of big severe or tornado outbreaks here. So we're going to need to really keep a close eye, because that's in the next 20 days we're going to see some pretty big severe weather events coming up, and we've really been spared from a lot of that. Here's the 23rd into the 24th, and you can see that we do have those reds and purple showing back up for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and then sure enough, here's that simulated radar. So again, just another severe weather event. Here's the 25th into the 26th. Again, tons of purple showing up there, and then again, more thunderstorms showing up. Alright, so we're about to move on, and we're going to talk about the temperature pattern that has really allowed for this type of setup to happen, talk about the differences from what's been happening in early May, and then what's happening in later May, and just talk about why that's creating the bigger chance for severe weather here towards the later portion of this month. Alright, and here we are, and again, this is by May 10th, and take a look at that. We have below average temperatures for the entire central and eastern United States here, and then the western United States has above average temperatures. Basically, the Rockies are separating the two air masses there. Now, what this creates is a very stale pattern where there's not a lot of instability, like I said before. Really, it's not created a lot of chances for severe weather. We've been having kind of general thunderstorm risks and then marginal risks here and there. Really no slight, enhanced, or moderate risks for the past 10 days or so. Basically, since May has started, we've had none as far as big severe weather days, maybe a couple. All right, and then here's the look by the time we reach the 24th, and this is the huge difference. Look at the above average temperatures in the deep south, the southeast, and the mid-Atlantic and northeast. And then as we head more inland, we have those below average temperatures. Usually what creates severe weather is that we have these cold air masses heading from the north to the south where there's warmer than normal conditions, and that creates instability. But when you have colder than normal conditions to the north and warmer than normal conditions to the south, it's even more exaggerated. We have even more warmer than normal conditions to the south and even colder conditions to the north. Really, that just creates above average chance for severe weather when we get in a pattern like this. This was the pattern in April, and I was able to see that that would be the pattern back in March, and that's why I called for this severe weather season and tornado season to be potentially historic, because I saw, if you guys watched my spring forecast and all of my severe weather seasonal forecasts, you guys can go back and check this to make sure what I'm saying is true, but I'll tell you it is. But to the south, I saw that there would be warmer than normal conditions for the deep south and the southeast, and then to the north, it looked like there was going to be colder than normal conditions with frequent cold fronts and stuff like that, and that's really what created that big time big time April that we had with tons and tons of severe weather, including the Easter outbreak, which was massive. And that's also what we're looking to get into from the 15th, or I guess the 14th through the end of May as well, to get into a pattern similar to what we had in April. So it's going to be a very dangerous situation. I want everybody to just stay safe, because this is exactly what I saw happening in April. And again, we had a huge April, and I'm also seeing the potential for that to happen again for the later portion of May. All right, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, what was your first car you ever had? And Matthew Heiser, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, said a 1951 Ford pickup. And I think those are just so cool when I see those very, very classic pickup trucks driving around. I'm always so jealous. I've always wanted one like that. So, I mean, that's an awesome, awesome first car to get. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.